welcome to another Outlook cover discussion. It's a very, very interesting cover. It's kind of goes with the season, I suppose. The festive season is about to start. Though this is not just a look at the festive part. There's a lot more in it. We have tried to ask who is Ram. What does it mean to various people? How many Ramayans are there in this country, in the south, in the region-wise, in the communities, in the tribes? So it's this whole idea of this God to some who's the sort of ultimate the Purushottam, and yet Maryada Purushottam, and yet to many he's not. So it's a very complex character, and that is what we are trying to sort of deconstruct, if you want to call it a little bit. The cover itself, you want to start with. Chinky is of course here with us, and the cover. It's a very interesting selection of this lady from this Ramnami sect who tattoo their Ram on all over their body, and so they're such devoted. And this is from Bharat Bala.
Bharat Bala Ganpati.
Yeah. If you want to say a little bit about the.
See, basically, I've always been intrigued by Ram. Because I grew up in Bihar and we had a completely different story about Ram, and it's Ram's Sasural also.
Yeah.
We have like this Paharma Ram concept and all of that. So you would listen to stories, and this was in Hampi in Karnataka when we saw this Bharat Bala's film on the Ramnami sect. So that film was very powerful, and it was about this community which were not allowed to worship Ram. So they said that हमारे मन में Ram है, and who can stop us if we just tattoo? If you don't allow us to enter temples or whatever, we tattoo all over our bodies the name of Ram. There are very few of them left now. Things have changed now. Their children can go to the temples and worship Ram. And then you had the Ram Janmabhoomi movement and all of that. And it was very strange because that Ramayana did not kind of match with the other versions that we heard. And we wanted to look at how we interpret. Stories are for everyone. I mean, it could be my Ramayana, it could be your Ramayana.
Absolutely.
It could be composite of many, many things.
Yeah.
So in mythology, I think it's there are various entry points. It could be the story of Surpanakha, for instance. And there's an excellent article by Kelly where Surpanakha invokes Sharia when he was talking to me about it. Like how various cultures, various communities have looked at, and it's such a beautiful thing that there is this instance where she goes to Ram and says that तुम मुझसे शादी कर लो, and he says मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ, मेरे को एक wife है, and she said शादियाँ में तो 4 wives allowed है. So it's very like interesting how Ram has permeated, and what is it?
And as we were saying in the south, especially in Kudiyatam, the Shurpanakha character, it's a very melancholic kind of character, whose only fault is to have, seems to have been to sort of desire somebody, and whom it's an unrequited love, and that too in a violent end in there,
It's a case of disproportionate punishment. If you don't cut off somebody
so there is that. So in fact, Kelly Ramachandran writes, I think mentions that.
He mentions that, and we also mentioned that. There is this Ambedkar and Periyar, which are slightly very controversial interpretations of Ramayana. It's called the Rebels Ramayana, because Ramayana, everybody, it's a story that has been given to us, and I think what the issue does is to urge people to think more about these characters, and these characters were product of their circumstances, of their times, of their geographical whatever situations, and not look at this whole Jai Shri Ram culture that is there right now. I think it's also about many other characters. It's about Ravan, and we just went to Jharkhand to meet the Asur tribe, and it was an eye-opener thing for us also. There is this, Ram cannot exist without Ravan, and Ravan won't exist without Ram. You take their names together as Sita, for instance.
And there is this village or town now near Noida, next to Visra. That it's Ravan's town, so to say.
No, also in Jharkhand they worship Mahishasur. They don't believe, they're not Hindus. But Mahishasur was an Asur, and he was there.
And of course, the feminist retelling of the Ramayana. I mean, that is an important, which is of late, which is another important aspect of the epic.
We are even only still touching the surface. I think there's so much out there
absolutely,
that it's kind of
absolutely.
very
It's so layered. I mean, it's
very
so layered. And though there is a columnist who says that, or was it in one of the testimonies? There was this thing that actually Mahabharata is the more layered epic and Ramayana is rather straightforward, which also I think Periyar's point was, and Ambedkar's too, saying that it's there is, but I mean that's a view though. I mean there is actually I mean there are lots of.
A lot of people also think that Ramayana is a little bit boring,
Yeah,
not sensational enough. That
yes,
was the
yes, yeah,
Ambedkar view.
Yeah.
And but Ramayana seeks to achieve perfection, and everybody fails at that. You know, if you look at Ramayana, you know, Ram also gives up everything and kind of goes to River Saryu and takes his samadhi.
Yeah.
However you interpret it is your thing,
Yeah.
but I think also you know the in curation of this, it's interesting that a lot of stuff, like for example Nirara Videsi, and I've known him for a while, and he talks about how Ram is missing from the poems of Vidyapati and all, because you know somehow the people of Bihar, a lot of them still think that Sita was not treated well. She was the daughter of the land. So you know you have those interpretations as well. And many stories actually, all fascinating.
Yeah, and region-wise, we have actually tried to cover as much as we can. I mean, it's as you're saying, it's impossible to really get all of it in one issue. But what does Ram mean in Maharashtra? What does Ram mean in Kashmir? You know,
and also like in political landscape, how
the
that
interpretation
has,
of
the interpretation of Ram, and why we remember the Ram calendar. It was always like this, it was always like that. And now you see this thing, and how did we come from like there to here? I think that's the thing, and I think even though we still touch even a little bit, I think if people read it, maybe it will kind of make them think about.
As always, it's to provoke thought. I mean, it's like it's there is so much about it. It's and many. To be frank, I mean, the whatever little it may be, but the issue has so many things that I personally didn't know about.
Even I mean, while they try to curate it, I found out many things. There is one very interesting one, which was my thing, was this. I've worked with the Hijra community for a long time, and they used to tell stories about Ram. We have one testimonial like that also. So it's also like Ramayana is a place for people to look for validation. People who are outcasts, who are abandoned, who are not kind of looked upon by the society as one of their own. They also find some solace as in mythology. And mythology is not history. I don't know why we keep looking at it as history, which has unfortunately has become. But,
and as I was saying, that little story about how Ram says to the men and women of Ayodhya to go back and not follow him. And he doesn't mention the
Hijra stand there.
So they stand there for 14 years, and so that is and that is why their blessing is sought.
For fertility, that's the blessing they ask.
And reportage, columns, ideas, articles, thoughts. Arguments, debates. I mean, everything is. Lot of it is there in this. So, as always, the issue should be out soon in the markets. I think right now in a day or two, and we are always there on www.outlookindia.com. Thank you very much.